Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to dip in and see where we're at with Galaxy's Edge. We haven't really talked much about Galaxy's Edge since it opened in Walt Disney World. Too much since the opening of the Rise of the Resistance. It wasn't working. And it's still not working, right?
No, we already talked about how the fact they have like the, what did you call it, B mode?
The B mode.
Like they have a B mode for the second Kylo Ren in the attraction where if he goes down, they have him as a video, like a movie of him and his interceptor. But they didn't have one for the first Kylo Ren, so when he went down, he just kind of like laid there, like, you know, stood there like not moving.
He jiggled. He jiggled.
He didn't even jiggle. He just stood there, jiggling something. But then they had another issue come up yesterday, and somehow it ended up bypassing the entire beginning with this explanation about the entire ride.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the continued problems with this ride, and everybody's like, oh my God, you're just haters. I'm like, well, then every news outlet is just haters, because people are not happy that they booked trips to Disney World, spent thousands of dollars to go ride this ride, and it continues to have issues. They continue to run out of boarding passes early in the day, and people just aren't happy. Then we're going to talk about, you know, how Disney just dropped more deals.
Oh yeah, we can talk about the Skyliner too. That's making people mad.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Skyliner, but you know, Disney dropped a bunch more deals. We talked about this, you know, earlier. Well, it's last year now. Anytime Disney drops deals like this, it's usually not a good sign for their bottom line.
A lot of deals got dropped.
Yeah, it means that they're trying to get people into the parks. We think a lot of people are waiting until 2021. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. We do talk about Disney theme parks as it comes up because it does intersect with pop culture, and we are theme park fans. Believe it or not.
But most of this you could have heard on our podcast too for Pirates and Princesses.
Yeah, go out to Pirates and Princesses. You can hear more about theme parks if you're into that. Put a link to that. And we're going to go. So this is coming from WDW News Today.
I guess yesterday people were upset because, well, first of all, you have to understand too, when you want to ride the Rise of the Resistance now, because it's such a high demand attraction, unless you're there first thing in the morning when it opens and are in line really early before the park opens to get in, to try to get a boarding pass on your phone, because even if you're there and you wait all that time, that's not a guarantee you're going to get a boarding pass.
Yeah.
To try to get a boarding pass on your phone, you're not going to get on the ride. So people waited, they went there early, and then what's happening too is people are buying one-day tickets without hoppers, so when they go to the park, you're stuck there all day. So if you show up there at like 5 in the morning, you get your boarding pass, if you're lucky enough, at 7, you have to stay there all day, even if your boarding pass isn't going to go active until nighttime. And if you don't get one at all, you're still stuck there all day unless you buy a ticket to another park. So as a result, the lines for everything else in the park are ridiculous. 45-minute wait times for things like the Muppets.
Yeah, and if you haven't been to the parks in a while, then you haven't been in the parks for a long time, because the Muppets have been around since, what, like 1990?
And it's pretty much a walk-on, and it's a big theater, and 45 minutes is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. Usually there's no wait. People go to the Muppets because they have nothing else to do. They've done everything else. A lot of people don't even know it's there, I don't think.
Right. So, I mean, that's what's going on. So then these people are lucky enough to get a boarding pass, get onto the attraction, and they're like, yay, I got one, woohoo, I got a time. And they go in, and then things like happen, like the animatronics aren't working, or, you know, a lot of times it goes down, and they get told to come back. If they're lucky, they can get in. Yesterday, what happened was there is an intro story, like you go through the queue, and then you get to the different parts at the end, and they have different sections they have you go into that they tell you the story leading into the ride. Gives you the backstory of the attraction, so when you go into the attraction, you know what's going on. Well, that didn't work apparently, so they took everybody past the backstory and just right into the ride. So people were like, okay, and what happened?
Yeah.
Which led to comments like these.
Yeah, so this is out on Twitter, and people are starting to voice their displeasure, and I just want to put out before we talk about some of these tweets that, remember, Bob Chapek threw all kinds of shade at Universal for having problems with the Hagrid coaster. Now...
Oh, people get mad about you saying that. But here's the thing. We only bring it up because we thought it was kind of douchey of Chapek to do that in the first place. It wasn't very professional of him. And now it's biting him in the ass because that's what karma is.
Yeah, but they'll never mention. Disney will never acknowledge there are problems. But there are problems because people are tweeting about it. So here somebody, Jen, tweeted to WDW Today and WDW Guest Services, what was the point of waking up at 4:30, waiting around the park with high wait times for a boarding group to be called, just to only experience barely 1/3 of the Rise of the Resistance? This is so disheartening. We waited so long for this.
Yep. And then another person, too, said, I got to the park this morning at 5:30 to make sure I got on the Rise of Resistance, only to see half of the ride. What happened to the entire pre-show? I missed the whole explanation behind the ride.
Did they have another evacuation yesterday?
Did they? I don't know. I lost track. I know that the Falcon was down, too, but it doesn't go down very often.
No, Falcon doesn't go down very often.
But yeah, so that's something else. I had the same problem. Is it broken? Don't know. But, the author had to say, you know what, coming into this, you're going to have to understand, you're going to have to temper your expectations. So that's what you're telling people after the expense you have to pay to be there and all of that, and you wait all day to get a turn. You have to temper your expectations because it might work, it might not work.
Maybe if Disney hadn't built those expectations up to such unbelievable, ridiculous levels, with this being the second coming, with the Galaxy's Edge being this amazing thing, maybe people's expectations would have been dialed down.
I think people's expectations are already dialed down because they know they're not getting the immersion and all that unless you're going to pay $3,000 a night for the hotel. So people are already coming in knowing that it's not to the extent that they were originally told.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, it's okay. We got Rise of the Resistance. It's all good. I mean, seriously, if you aren't there like in the first half hour the park opens, you are not getting on this attraction at all. So you get up, you get in there early, you do everything you're supposed to do, and then you finally get on the ride and it breaks down, or the animatronics don't work, or in this case, you cut off the whole beginning with all the animatronics and holograms and pre-show, which is a big part of the attraction. It's really important to explain it. And I get things break. I understand that because everybody's like, you don't understand how things break. We do. Get things break. Other attractions break down. But they don't seem to break down as much as this one does.
And this is one that we had people coming to us and coming to other news outlets saying, there are problems with this ride. It's going to break down a lot. And everybody's like, you're just being negative because you hate Star Wars.
The leaks were so bad that Disney had to threaten to fire employees for telling the media what was really going on.
Yeah, that's true. There were employees talking to the media about all the problems with the ride. We had Imagineers come to us telling us that I think it was California. They actually put the magnetic track on backwards. They had to dig it back up.
It does have a track before everybody's like, it's a track, it's a magnet. There's still a ride system underneath the track.
Yeah.
Underneath the floor. There's still a track. Anyway.
So, but yeah, I mean, WW News Today, this is 100% accurate. In recent weeks, the attraction has had a number of audio animatronics break down or go on B mode, and the attraction has suffered from full operational breakdown since opening day.
It's like every day.
Every day, every other day, they're evacuating this ride. And I understand, rides having problems at the beginning, but we're like, how many months in now, and the damn thing breaks down all the time.
I keep thinking another one that breaks down a lot is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and I don't think it breaks down anywhere near as much as this one does.
Nope.
It's ridiculous. So temper your expectation. And I agree with that. I agree with this author. Temper your expectations. You're going to have to.
Well, isn't that Disney Star Wars all together now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just temper your expectations, people. Occasionally you'll get thrown a bone like The Mandalorian, but for the most part, all of Disney Star Wars is a disappointment right now. So
you won't be as disappointed if you go in disappointed, so.
What was that they used to have on Mad TV? The one dating service, it was like Lowered Expectations.
Oh yeah, it was Lowered Expectations.
And they're like Lowered Expectations. And like sad couple on the dirty beach.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
That's what it is. But this is gonna be really interesting. Now, I don't think the general public is really gonna be affected by this, but the general public, I think, is starting to believe that Disney is becoming too expensive for them, or they're waiting to book a trip maybe for 2021 because Disney, again, this is an indication of panic. They're dropping all kinds of discounts.
They are a lot. There was already a free dining discount went out last week with very select days. It was really specific. And then we had a bunch of offers dropped. What day was that? Yesterday. I can't remember. I write so many articles, people. There's a kids free dining. There is a discounted room rate. There was like I think there's some kind of package if you're a Florida resident. There was an annual pass holder room package, and then Disneyland dropped one that was for Southern California residents, and then they have one that's for kids also with like a $67 ticket for if you buy 3 days or more or something. I forget what it is. If you go to piratesandprincesses.net, it's on there. I literally have written so many of these, I don't remember. They all blend together.
Brains like mush.
But there's at least like 6 of them out right now on these offers for the 2 parks.
I gotta tell you, when I look at the Disney news, because I don't follow it as closely as I used to when we worked on the other blog, because I'm not writing most of the stuff. But my armchair view is I'm seeing breakdown, discount, breakdown, upcharge.
Well, I'm going to get to the upcharges in a minute. Another thing people were getting upset about was, which, to be fair, we knew this was coming.
Yeah.
The Skyliner. Because we've talked about the Skyliner before, and you know how everybody feels about the Skyliner. The Skyliner. So, if you're staying in one of the resorts that are on the Skyliner line, so that would be like the Pop Century, the Art of Animation, the Caribbean Beach Resort, or the Riviera. If you're staying in one of those hotels, they have just, without notice, changed the bus schedule so that the buses come to Epcot and Hollywood Studios every hour as opposed to every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This is because they want you to use the Skyliner. And they're trying to force people onto the Skyliner. We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, you mean the Skyliner that never has any accidents or any incidents? That Skyliner? Yeah.
Well, any other hotel that has an alternative transportation source, not like the monorail line or the ferry boat line, they do the same thing there. They don't have buses that run very often. You have to take those modes of transportation because that's what's being offered. Well, now, because there aren't already lines for the Skyliner, they're push that people take the Skyliner to Epcot and Hollywood Studios.
So we have a theory. We have a very cynical theory because that's what we do over here is have cynical theories. The theory is that the Skyliner was not supposed to complement the bus service, but it was supposed to eventually replace a lot of the bus drivers, because these are automated. You only need like one or two operators. You don't need to have all these bus drivers. Just putting it out there because they like to save money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is, and they spend enough on it, they have to recoup it somehow. But a lot of people are afraid of heights. A lot of people have been on it and don't like it. A lot of people are afraid of it because of the media and what's happened and in the breakdowns they've had. So now they're being forced to ride it. Here's the thing: don't book a hotel on the Skyliner line then, because it was a matter of time. We knew they always do this when they have alternate transportation. They push it. Yeah. So if you don't like the Skyliner, I do not recommend staying in those hotels. Also, if you do want to stay in those hotels, you can take Lyft or Uber. And it's not very much because Epcot and Hollywood are close to those hotels because they're on the line. It's only a few dollars to take a Lyft or an Uber over. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You can just do that instead or wait for the bus for the hour. There are ways around it. It's not surprising they did this, guys. They were totally going to do this. We knew it when they said they were going to put it up. It's one of the quote unquote perks for staying there. So if you're afraid of the Skyliner for whatever reason, I just would recommend doing other hotels.
If you're afraid of it for it.
They raised the price of the pop, so.
Yeah, right. If you're afraid of the Skyliner for any reason, like I might spontaneously combust or
it's
crash.
not going to do that, but you might be stuck for hours.
Speaking of spontaneous combustion, we gotta talk about the people mover.
I don't know what happened. It wasn't a fire. The other day, like, they shut it down for an hour because all of a sudden smoke just poured out of the people mover.
Fire.
It wasn't fire. They called the fire department in, and they had it reopened shortly. But they turned the escalator, conveyor, whatever you want to call those, the little ramps that go up there, the conveyor belt. They turned them off, so I'm assuming it has something to do with the motor. But there was a lot of smoke. A lot of smoke. So everybody's like, oh shit, now the people mover's on fire.
Like, okay, people keep talking about this daily.
That was the same day that I forgot to mention. That was the same day that they they couldn't get people in the Magic Kingdom.
Oh yeah, that's right. They couldn't get people. And
the monorails broke. So earlier
the monorails broke that day.
Earlier that day, same day. In the afternoon for about an hour, the scanners wouldn't work at Magic Kingdom.
So you can get them for free.
Technically. Scanners weren't working at Magic Kingdom. So after the crowds kept coming and it became a safety hazard, the management decided to let people through. So they just waved you through without scanning your band. Now, you had already had security check. But
I hope so.
I mean, I don't know how. They probably figured out later if you tried to use a fast pass, it was going to show that you couldn't use your fast passes or something. But they waved people through for about 45 minutes, and they started using the iPads when they got the crowds down. But if you were lucky enough to be in that group, you got waved in without using your ticket. Then they had an incident where the monorails went down, and so the ferry boat lines were ridiculously long. This is all the same day. And then the people mover had the smoke incident, but they reopened shortly later after like 15 firefighters were there, and they couldn't find anything.
Look,
so.
People are like, you're being so negative. You're being so negative.
I'm just reporting on what happened.
I gotta tell you,
I'm not giving an opinion either way.
I have never seen this many incidents just all the way around with Disney.
It's just boom, boom, boom. Like, they are not having a good year
within the last couple months at Disney, and I really do think a lot of it comes down to cost cutting or karma.
No, that's the karma for the cost cutting.
It could be, but
cause and effect.
But we know people are losing their jobs. We know they're cutting back. They're consolidating. And I think that just that again, Disney used to have a lot more TLC, and they don't seem to have that now. Not like they used to. And now it's just about getting you in the door, charging you as much money as they possibly can get out of you. And hey, if the stuff doesn't work that you paid thousands of dollars for, whatever.
Yeah, well, now they're going to charge something else now, too.
Oh, that stupid Run Disney.
So now Run Disney. If you ever, if they have runs, I'm sure they have the runs, but they have runs.
That'll be the next thing. Everybody running the marathon suddenly had.
I had food poisoning at Disney once. It was not fun.
The squirts.
It was real quick backpedal. When I was a kid, my parents paid a lot of money to go eat at Cinderella's Castle, and back then it was King Stephen's restaurant, and we paid a lot of money to go eat there. And all of us got severe food poisoning and diarrhea, except for my brother, who happened to have gotten the cheeseburger because he wouldn't order anything fancy. Because he was always a cheeseburger guy. That was his thing. No matter where you went, no matter what kind of restaurant it was, that was what he'd pick, cheeseburger. So he didn't get sick, but the rest of us who bought the really expensive fancy food all got sick. Anyway, Run Disney. Run Disney they have several runs a year. They have a marathon in January, which is actually starting tomorrow. I think it's going to be the weekend starts tomorrow. They have a Star Wars one. They have a princess one. They have a food and wine one. So they have them throughout the year. Well, now they got the bright idea because they aren't expensive enough because they're really expensive.
Yeah, they are expensive.
They're going to have a club now. And you can be part of the Club Run Disney.
Let's just go right to the platinum, because that's the ridiculous one.
Well, no, you have to see what your values you're getting. For $265.43 a year, you can get a jacket, a magnet, a membership card, tier 1 pricing for the races, which I didn't know there was different tiers, exclusive 2020 Club virtual 10K that you get to run at your house.
Yeah, you get to run at your track.
And on your running bibs, you get a special little mark on it that says your Club Disney.
Oh.
So for gold, or $478.63, you get everything in the silver, plus, for $200 more, a guaranteed opportunity to purchase one spot in the half marathon or greater distance race each race weekend.
You're guaranteed to be able to spend more money.
Because the higher up the race, the more expensive it goes. And then for platinum, you get everything in gold and silver. Plus, you get a guaranteed opportunity to perch one spot in one distance race every weekend, including the lower distance races.
This is like Patreon for Disney.
It is. And then you get a special Club Run Disney Expo experience where you get to go to a special lounge for a convenient packet pickup, without the riffraff that wait in line. And then without having to print, without everybody fighting over the printer to print out their release form and sign it.
That was the real race. If
you go to the races, they have a printer, and everybody, they have several printers, but you all have to sign a release if you don't have it with you, and you have to fight for the printer to get your release. Anyway, then you have a early access to the Run Disney merchandise shop, so you can get the merchandise that doesn't sell out very fast, early, and special character meet and greet opportunity that only you get at the merch. They already had that for other people too.
How exclusive!
But here's where it gets interesting. For $800 almost, you can get upgraded corral placement so that you can get a special place in the corral to make sure that you're one of the first ones to have a better time than everybody else.
Do you get a bigger medal if you come in first place because you had special corral placement?
You have to have that little special Club Run Disney on the bottom,
It's a little like wine. Well, they actually do have a wine and dine wine mom running.
No, it's not just for wine moms. It's for anybody. The wine and dine.
Yeah, but it's like dine and dash.
Is it? Yeah. Well,
Disney.
You don't eat and dash.
It's the Disney dine and dash.
That is not how it is. That is not how it is. Anyway,
it could be. But you probably
I'm sure some people do.
You probably wouldn't be allowed to come back if you did the Disney Dine and Dash.
I don't think so. But
5K,
they have the
10K.
wine and dine, which happens during the Food and Wine Festival. It's not like you drink and then run, which would be more fun to watch from an audience standpoint.
I want to see that. That would be like Monty Python, watching all the drunk upper class people just.
I'm just saying. I mean,
off themselves.
The wine and dine would. Wait, what?
You've never seen that? Monty Python. I'm gonna have to educate Geeky on Monty Python.
I have seen Monty Python, but I apparently missed that one.
Yes.
So yeah, they get to drink and run, and it'd be like the running of the bulls with a bunch of drunk people. So which is kind of like the Food and Wine Festival during the day at Epcot.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a lot of drunk people running around. It's always interesting during the Food and Wine Festival, or pretty much any festival now, because they're almost all year round, and they have alcohol at every one.
God, I want to see a bunch of drunk people running through Disney.
I don't. I mean, when we were there at the one for the last Star Wars one, because of a storm, they actually let everybody run at the same time, which was a big mistake. And there were people that were in wheelchairs. No, everybody was told.
Oh my God,
everybody was told to let the wheelchairs go first. Everybody was told. Normally, they go first. I
forgot about that.
Okay, I have to explain this. How they separate people at these runs is based on how your run time from previous runs or how long it takes you put down that it takes you to run a mile. They separate you in corrals. In the past, there was a lot more corrals than last time, but they had like 4 or 5 corrals last time, or 3 or something. Anyway, they always let the handicapped people go first, and then they wait about 10, 15 minutes, and then let the corral A go first, which are the runners that are the fast runners, because there's not that many of them, and they're just there for try to get as fast as they can. They're there for speed. They let them go first, and then they have the slower people down towards the end. Well, last time they told everybody that because of the storms and everybody was on the buses, that you could wait there, and after the wheelchairs have come by, you were allowed to go. Well, no, people waited for the wheelchairs mostly, and then they all went. And then what happened was, because they didn't get the head start and they didn't get, past all the fast runners, but besides the fact the fast runners were pissed because people that were slow got in front of them and they were constantly shoving you out of the way to get around you. Yeah. People in the wheelchairs couldn't get through either. And we were yelling for people to move because there was a person with a wheelchair that could not break their wheelchair. They could not stop. And they were coming in hot. And we kept saying, move!
Oh my God.
Move! Get out of the way! They wouldn't move!
So we're in the UK. And you just hear
World Showcase, not the real UK.
Not the real UK. We're in the fake UK. Fake UK. Okay. Anyway, we're in the faux England part of Epcot, and we're kind of trying to run because nobody can because there's too many damn people. And you hear a woman screaming coming off the bridge.
No, before that. Before that, there's people trying to tell people, wheelchairs coming through, move. Wheelchairs coming through, move. Because normally, if that happens, everybody, and you're supposed to, first of all, if you're supposed to be going slower, you're supposed to stay to the right. If you're running, you're supposed to stay to the left. People don't listen to that either.
They don't listen to
So
anything.
people would not move in front of us, and they kept telling that we all moved, and they kept screaming, move. And these, I don't know if they didn't speak English, or they were just asshats. I don't know. But they refused to move.
I think the latter.
And the poor woman couldn't stop. She crashed into a kiosk, which isn't funny. It isn't funny, but it sounds funny, but it isn't funny. But she crashed into a kiosk. She was okay. She was okay, yes. We made sure she was okay. But she crashed into a kiosk because she couldn't stop herself, and these dickwads would not move out of her way. And it was horrible. When I say crash, I'm not saying like people are envisioning this like big boom and stuff flying around.
No,
it wasn't that bad. I mean, she was going quite fast, but it wasn't bad enough that it broke anything or anybody got hurt. But she smashed into a kiosk because these people in front refused to move out of the way to let her through, even though they needed to, and they wouldn't do so.
Over at the Fish and Chips. But anyway, you can get upgraded corral placement for a mere $800.
That's right.
Via Disney's runDisney.
And as long as there's not a storm and they decide to run everybody at the same time, that'll be a good thing. Otherwise, you're paying for nothing because it won't really matter.
Well, I'm telling you what's going on here, guys. I'm telling you, armchair opinion. The bookings aren't looking too good for first quarter, and they're upcharging all the stuff they know makes money.
We got to pay for the stuff.
Yeah, and they're cutting back on the quick service on the dining plans. You're not getting a lot of the outlet or a lot of the
well, that's up to the third-party restaurants that a lot of places are deciding not to be in anymore because maybe the deal changed because they had to give Disney a cut. So maybe the cut went up, but some places didn't renew.
I don't know.
No, that could just be their paperwork isn't in either. So
I'm just saying, if you're trying to get people to the parks, making sure that the reason they go for these new rides, making sure that they work. All right, and making sure that people don't feel like they're being gouged, that goes a long way in helping your bottom line.
Right. Well, we know darn well there's going to be price increases coming. Yep. They always increase, February? That'll probably come. And then you know darn well, all the merchandise and food's going to start going up $1 or $2.
Yep.
They have all these free dining plans. That's great. We're going to start jacking the prices up so everybody else who isn't getting free can pay for it. And, it's just, and then some places aren't carrying free dining anymore. And a lot of the snack places like Aloha Isle and stuff, guess what? Shows do not take dining plan anymore. So there's no snack credits there. So if you're going to be using the free dining or dining plan in general, make sure you check the Disney website or check with the restaurant specifically to make sure that they take the dining plan before you plan on going there.
I'm thinking most of the people who are listening to this probably don't care.
No, they're too busy laughing about the wheelchair incident.
Yes, and laughing about Star Wars breaking down.
Probably.
I don't think that's...
So anywho, there you go. there is, I guess, our daily dose of dismal or D4. I can't remember if it's 3 or 4. D4 for the day.
For the day. It's been a couple of weeks, but we just, had to talk about Rise of the Resistance because
that's a big thing.
This is a bad
you're
look.
cutting half the ride out now.
Yeah, that's a bad look too. To have people grumbling on, yeah.
And you know darn well, I didn't go to their tweets, but you know darn well, these people, the apologists are going to come in and be like, well, at least you got to ride it. A lot of people didn't get a turn at all. And they're going to tell them, that they should shut up and not have any opinion unless it's a positive one because you're not allowed to, or you're negative. You're a bad person, especially travel agencies.
Yeah, well, I would say that I'd count your blessings because I think Disney's going to cut back on that marketing budget, which means a lot of these paid troll accounts are going to get paid as much as they used to.
Probably.
So we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.